we went out to get drinks the other night, and it was cool because that was the first time in a long time. I remember I texted you when we set it up, and I was like, dude, you want to just go get beers and not fucking talk podcasting? Because the last couple of times we've hung out, it's always been like, yo, come over, let's do a podcast.
Right.
And it's something that I'm trying to improve on, to not turn all of my relationships with my friends into
podcasting.
like podcast.
Yeah.
So we were talking, and then, of course, just naturally, dudes drinking beers, we just started talking about football also. And you asked me a really dope question, and that's when I was like, yeah, I want to talk about this on the podcast. Kind of hypocritical. Right. But let's talk about some teams that might surprise us this year, for good or for bad. I personally, I'm very intrigued by Carolina. Love their weapons on offense. This dude, Terrence Marshall, is...
I'm hearing big things.
A rookie out of LSU. The first LSU Tiger that Joe Brady has drafted, the offensive coordinator. I'm still holding on hope to Sam Darnold. He's another guy. Now, hear me out first. Very, very similar to how I feel about Matthew Stafford, where obviously Matthew Stafford, we've seen it for a longer time, but I do think that both Stafford and Darnold were on shit situations last couple of years, and there is talent there. And I think that him going, reunites with Robbie Anderson, he got DJ Moore, Terrence Marshall, McCaffrey.
Yeah, he has a legit security blanket now.
Yeah, you got to do the catch. He set the catch record for running backs, and then he broke it the year after. All right, like, this dude's a beast, and he's still young. He's 25. He just turned 25 years old, McCaffrey. So this isn't a guy like Le'Veon Bell who's 28, 29 years old. Like, this dude's a baller. And I think they're a team who I think they can make some noise. I think they'll upset some people. Remember the game they played against the Chiefs where they attempted like that really long field goal?
They were compared to like November last year.
They were, and I think they were limited by their quarterback also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by Carolina. Now, I might be a year too early because I know you feel a lot worse about their defense than I did.
Yeah, their defense is a mess.
So they're a team that I think could surprise some people, and I'm very fascinated by that.
I think if everything clicks, they could win 8 games. I'm not sure of 9, but they definitely could be competitive. They were competitive last year. I think now it's just a matter of they got to win those one-score games, which I know could be was a bit of a challenge last year, given losing McCaffrey. Even though Mike Davis put up great numbers, just when you have McCaffrey, he's a mismatched machine. Like he just.
I mean, dude, you saw what he did in the one game he came back against the Chiefs.
Yeah. Like he just knows.
Went nuclear.
What he could do.
Congo
team, exactly. So, and I've been hearing good things about J.C. Horn, if you want to talk about something about defense. So the top 10 pick, who at the time was a bit of a controversial pick. A lot of people didn't think he was top 10 worthy. But look, I think that their team, I think they're just trying to regain some sort of identity defensively, because there was a time where they were consistently a stout defense. And now it's like they're trying to pick the pieces up, because it's really not. I think Shaq Thompson might be the last of that defense from 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, what was his name?
Given the retirements,
Kuechly, Davis, Norman,
Kawan Short, Mario Addison, like they had Star Toulier, like they had a lot there, and now it's just like trying to figure out the cracks or try to patch up the cracks. But Carolina's a good one. I'm very fascinated with them. I think it's just a matter of their defense, and Sam Darnold's got to show something. And what I mean by show something, he's got to do more than just flashes. Because to me, Darnold had maybe 2 or 3 good games in New York, and that was it.
Yeah. What's a team that's... Give me a surprise for better.
Man, Washington's a weak choice. I'm not gonna go. I really think Washington could win like 10 games this year, but
I talked about it on the NFC East division preview. I can't believe that they're not the favorites to win the East.
Dallas is, right?
Yeah.
God, okay. I don't know about like that. Surprise. See, I don't know who really stands out. Like, I'm not gonna go double digits, but I could see in a similar boat Denver. And even though I hate the QBs, I don't like Locke or Bridgewater, but I think talent-wise, all across the board, they're for real. And I think Vic Fangio's a decent coach. Like, I know Fangio gets a lot of heat for his conservatism, but he is a tremendous defensive mind, and I think Von Miller's not going to be healthy this year. It just seems like they really retooled, especially at corner as well. Denver, especially in the AFC, I could see them being a real pain to beat. And in the AFC where things are wide open, 9 games could get you a playoff spot.
In my hands right now, with my horrific handwriting.
It's good to know people still write things down.
Yeah. Oh, all my notes I write down first and then I type it. Apparently, it's like a psychological thing. It helps you remember.
Yeah.
Also, with that said, the reason why I bring it up is Javonte Williams, their rookie running back.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wins the job over Melvin Gordon.
Well, both of them get carries.
Right, but I think ultimately it'll be like a Jonathan Taylor kind of situation.
Okay.
You always see it where the rookie comes in and there's still a guy there with some cachet, his name.
Yeah.
Right? They paid him big money last year.
Right.
I mean, $8 million per
Yeah.
year to come over. I think ultimately he becomes the guy
By
there.
like October.
Yeah, and the offensive line is a little bit shaky, but he was PFF's #1 running back overall. Mm-hmm. He was a dude who led the NCAA in yards after contact behind the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. So what that tells me is he was productive in college despite getting hit behind the line of scrimmage anyway. So I like that in running backs because there are some running backs that come into situations where they had everything perfect in college, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go to a team where the offensive line isn't that good, and you have no elusiveness, no escapability. Get hit in the backfield, and then you can't generate anything. They also have the second easiest running back schedule based on run DVOA. Okay. The reason why I mention him is these notes are my offensive rookie of the year odds. He's 30-1. Okay. Little interesting. Mm-hmm. They got Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Hamler, Noah Fant.
Yeah, to me, they have two of the more freakish talents in Sutton and Fant. Dude, Noah Fant, he is scary.
Think about this also. Aaron Rodgers was linked to go there. He wasn't going to go there if they didn't have these weapons, too. The only thing holding them back is the quarterback.
Ultimately. And just, I think last year that got really beaten up. Like, I don't know what the stat was, but I saw they were up there, like most lost starts.
Yeah.
They were up there. So you would hope they'd be healthy now.
Yeah, you know,
like I'm not crazy about them, but I just think they're gonna be a problem to face. Like they are not gonna get blown out. Only way they get blown out is if the quarterback just turns it over 3-4 times. Other than that, I think they're gonna be a pain to play against. And you saw it, like Kansas City had issues against them last year.
Yeah, it's weird. I think, and with that division, it comes down to who do you feel better about, the Chargers or the Broncos? Because I think most people say the Chargers, but why can't a division have 3 good teams? Mm-hmm. So, well, last year the AFC North had 3 playoff teams,
right? And people are expecting big regression from Pittsburgh, and
yeah. Okay, a team, Alan, you think is gonna surprise us, but in a bad way. Like a team that people are expecting maybe playoffs or Super Bowl aspirations, and they kind of just fall short.
A few months ago, I would say the Cardinals, but I feel like the buzz on Arizona is diminished.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a weak choice.
It's the coach. I really think Kingsbury is what's holding them back. Oh. They got some talent too on both sides of the ball. Also,
defense is still a bit fragile.
And we still don't know what's going to happen with Chandler Jones. Apparently, he's requested to get traded too.
That's true.
Yo, wouldn't Xavier Howard for him be a nice trade? I feel like it fits a role for both teams.
It would. I don't know what the money situation is, but that would be. Both teams would greatly benefit from it.
Yeah, and if you think about it, they have another corner. Byron Jones is still there in Miami, so they have a nice corner. And you get a corner to step in. The heir apparent to Patrick Peterson, who was there for about a decade, another 2011 classer.
Because Howard feels very disrespected right now that he's not getting paid like the top corner that he is. I think he should be. The guy had 10 interceptions last year.
That's fucking wild, dude. Like 10 picks is crazy.
And he's not even the highest paid corner on his team. I can understand why he's upset.
Man, football contracts are so strange because if I'm the player, I feel the same way that Xavier Howard feels, how Julio would feel those years, where you look around and you're like, yo, how's this guy making more money than me? Because the new guys that set the new market, that's the new contract, right? So if I'm a 1,500-yard wide receiver and I get paid, and then 2 years from now, your contract's up, you're the free agent, and you're a 1,200 yards wide receiver, but you're the best wide receiver in the class, you're going to set the new market. And then where I was making $15 million a year, now you're making $21 million a year. And I'm looking at it like, yo, Allen can fucking hold my jock strap. You see that happen all the time. When Michael Thomas got paid, everyone was like, yo, slant boy? Like, all he does is run slants and shit. It sucks, but I feel the player because he's clearly outperformed his contract. But on the flip side, it's like, what do you want the team to do? It's weird.
Right. When it comes to the team, I don't expect to be as good. Like, when it comes to Super Bowl contenders, I'm pretty assured with all of them. I think they're going to be as good. So, but if I'm going to pick a team that's been getting buzzed, I don't see it. I'm going to go with the Patriots. I was not a fan at all of their offseason.
Yeah, me neither.
I couldn't stand their offseason. I still think their roster, offensively, they lack explosiveness on the outside. Still not sure what to make their running game. QB situations obviously kind of murky. Like that offense doesn't really do much outside the cool tight end combo, and that's what we're riding on. Cautious of that, and even defensively, like they got some talent there, but the Gilmore situation, who knows if he's going to be there? He's another disgruntled player. You know, I like Matthew Judon, but as a number one edge rusher, we've seen in the past players that leave Baltimore. They're kind of core rotational players. They go to a new environment. Not the same.
It's not it.
So, as much as I love Belichick and McDaniels, I look at their roster and I don't think they're a team that's going to – I can't see them seriously challenging. I hear people pick them 10, 11 games. I can't see more than 9 or even 8. Like, I think there's a lot of limitations there, and they don't have the courtesy of playing in a soft division anymore. I think Miami's good. I think the Jets are going to be better than people think, and Buffalo's Buffalo.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. That division is not a cakewalk anymore because every team feels as if they found their guy. So, especially if you're the Jets and you took Wilson second and you move on from Darnold, you would hope so. I agree. I didn't like a lot about what New England did. Let me ask you this, man. Do you feel as
you don't got pick?
I do. But I want to ask you this based off something you said in passing. The NFL is known for having a lot of turnover as far as every year you can basically remove. Well, in the past when it was 12 teams, you could remove 4 teams that made the playoffs that won't be in there. Right. I feel as if this year it's more like narrowed down. I kind of have an idea of who the playoff teams are going to be. This is injury aside. Right. Do you feel as if the parity has kind of gone away a little bit in the NFL? Like it's Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, Green Bay. If the quarterbacks don't get hurt, I wouldn't be surprised if those are the final 4 again. All right, we like Cleveland. They made the playoffs last year. We like the Rams. They made the playoffs last year.
Divisional round, yeah.
Right. We like Washington. They won the division last year.
Seattle's always going to be there. Baltimore's going to be there. You assume Tennessee's going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, I have all playoff teams, like Pittsburgh stands out as a team that's gonna.
But I
don't want to discount their pedigree because say what you want, man. Mike Tomlin always finds a way for at least to be competitive. Like I don't think Pittsburgh's gonna fall off a cliff. It's just gonna be a struggle.
Oh, I see a lot of regression with them. The offensive line, the reports are bad coming out of Pittsburgh.
It's very bad.
And this is an offensive line who the last 5 years, I think, had no turnover. They were running the same offensive line. We would always talk about the continuity on the O-line being such a big part of what Pittsburgh was doing.
The likes of Villanueva, Pouncey, DeCastro.
Right, and those guys are not there anymore. So that's a big issue. And Ben is up there in age now. And he is, remember last year I gave you a list of quarterbacks, the fall off a cliff guys. Ben is probably my pick to be a guy to fall off a cliff because he started to look that way last year.
I think he already has.
He already has.
That second half was
abysmal, yeah. And I know, I know there were some games where my buddy Danny, our friend Danny, he's a big Steeler fan. He's like, dude, he hasn't been great, but Deontay Johnson couldn't catch. Claypool.
All right. Yeah, the supporting cast definitely let him down.
But still, it was... So for me, that's a team that I'm a little concerned with. Bud Dupree was a big part of their defense. How much of him not being there is going to affect T.J. Watt running wild the way he did?
I think Melvin Ingram hopefully will be a
very nice signing. Yeah.
And Highsmith is someone they drafted in the 3rd round last year who showed flashes. So I don't have any doubts about Pittsburgh defensively. It's still a unit that they're pretty loaded.
And they always seem to just produce, right? Like, you never need to worry about, a Baltimore defense, Steeler defense. It's always going to be at its core.
That Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, man, you want to talk about a trade where everyone has to eat their words. I think that one and the Amari Cooper trade, everyone got wrong there. Because the majority was just like, how can you do this? First round pick for him. What were you thinking?
Yeah.
They knew what they were thinking.
Well, I think it's important to realize when teams make trades like that, and look, I'm not going to pretend like I remember what side of the fence I was on that. I do know that my logic when it comes to trading a pick for an established star, I'm always for it. Especially when Amari Cooper was 24 when they got him. Minkah Fitzpatrick was 23, 24. You're not making that trade for Julio now. Like, if you were to give up a first-round pick for Julio now, I'd be like, I don't know about that.
I think the concern was both Dallas and Pittsburgh made these trades in the season where it looked like they were going to win only 6-7 games. So it's like, ooh, why are you getting up a first-round pick when you're not really competing to win a Super Bowl? And both teams end up making the playoffs and were pretty competitive. So
right.
I just think at the time, I remember they made those trades, I want to say in September, or I think Cooper was in October. And it was just like, wait, your team is nowhere near contention. Why are you giving up a first-round pick like this? For a player who Cooper was having major inconsistency, major drop season in Oakland at the time, and Fitzpatrick was a bit of a miscast in Miami.
And I remember that was when Pittsburgh was going through all those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And the outrage from Steeler fans was, why would you give up a first-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick when Ben isn't playing? You're probably going to have a top 10 to 12 pick, and then they go 8-8.
Meanwhile, Fitzpatrick had like 3 defensive touchdowns.
Oh, dude was defensive player of the year, arguably, from the time that the only reason why he didn't win it that year, I think, was because like he didn't play those first 4 games at an elite level with Pittsburgh.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's weird. Like I would always give up a draft pick for because that first round picks. It's hard, man. I talk about this all the time. A third of the league becomes all pros. A third of the league is out the league by the time of their second contract. And a third of the league is they're just okay. They're starters on your team, but you're disappointed because you took this guy 8th overall and he's just, whatever. If something better comes along, we'll exchange him kind of thing. And you just never know. So for me, a known commodity, I would always give up the asset for. That's just how
I think it also just depends on where you think the first round pick's gonna be, though. Like if you could potentially pick in a top 10, you gotta understand what you're really getting into.
Right. So if you're Atlanta last year and you see that you're gonna be a top 5 pick and there's all these rich quarterbacks that everyone's salivating at, and you're looking at Matt Ryan, yeah, I probably don't move out of that slot or make that pick. And also, Atlanta wasn't really a playoff team.
Right, not at all.
But if you're a team where you're happy with your quarterback and you have a chance to get him a stud wide receiver, Stephon Diggs with Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the best. That might be an iconic.
The biggest win-win. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Like, Minnesota does that trade again, and Buffalo does that trade again. They replaced Diggs.
Diggs was clearly disgruntled there.
Yeah, and dude was like 3rd in the league in receiving yards, Justin Jefferson, and he didn't get going until week 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So to me, it's all about if I have the quarterback, I'm willing to give up the assets to acquire established players that could play right away and be impactful. Age into consideration, salary into consideration.
Absolutely.
I'd much rather do that. Because what if Buffalo doesn't make that trade for Stephon Diggs, and then they end up with Jalen Reagor last year?
That could have been a possibility.
Allen doesn't have the season that he has.
Not at all.
Buffalo doesn't play as well. So it's a weird dynamic. Like if you're a team like the Chargers.
Especially when you have that QB on a rookie deal.
Right, there's that too. And you have the right. It's not only the quarterback on the rookie deal, it's the right QB on the rookie deal.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like Daniel Jones is on a rookie deal.
Yeah, well.
Right? But
they're still investing in that offense.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Oh, my God.
When I said they're investing in the offense, Nick's head just went down, and he just shook his head.
Man, we talked about Galladay a lot in that team brawl. So I don't want to get into it again.
I don't think we could talk anymore about the Giants.
Yeah, let's not.